I don't understand.
It is only here that I can control them. A family in balance, the light and the dark. Day with night. Destruction replaced by creation.
Then why reveal yourselves to us?
There are some who would like to exploit our power. The Sith are but one. Too much dark or light would be the undoing of life as you understand it. When news reached me that the Chosen One had been found, I needed to see for myself.
The Chosen One is a myth.
Is it? I should very much like to know.
You've never heard of the Millennium Falcon?
Should I have?
It's a ship that made the Kessel Run in less than 12 parsecs.
Hey everyone, and welcome to
Kessel Run Weekly.
My name is Danny.
I'm Heather.
And we are joined by a very special guest today, Michelle.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Welcome.
We're very excited to have you.
We're excited.
Absolutely. And so we met Michelle actually through Instagram, through her account, her Star Wars account on there, Ahsoka X Tano. I want to make sure I get that right. She posts a lot of cool Rebels and things like that. It's got an awesome following on there as well. Even running through something special right now, her Rebels rewatch. Yes. How's that been going for you so far?
Good. You know, it is a lot of work. Most of the stuff that I put together was like days in advance. So, yeah, I mean, posting 5 times a day is a lot. It's a lot. So I have everything like set in folders and such in my like photos albums to get it all ready. But it's enjoyable. I've gotten a couple people that follow, you know, and like will post things. So I love it. It's so cool. It's like so crazy. It's crazy cool.
That's too
awesome.
fun.
Yeah.
It's been really fun to follow and everything because you're posting concept art, behind the scenes kind of stuff and everything about Rebels and starting from season 1. And so, I mean, just the whole thing's just really awesome. I follow it every day. So
yeah, that's how it came. That's how I kind of came up with the idea. Is I was looking for concept art for another one of my comparison posts, if you will, and I was like, how many Rebels episodes are there? And so I kind of tracked if I would be able to cover all of them in the span of what summer I have before I go back to school. So then I was able to do that. So I just decided, hey, you know what? Let's do this. So yeah.
That's
cool.
too cool.
I would have been that organized.
Wow.
Well, cool. So our episode for this week is actually really fun. Something I've been looking forward to, I think, since we've really started this podcast. You and I've talked about it.
Yes.
We're going to talk about the balance of the Force. And we all watched the Mortis arc from Clone Wars. Yeah. So it was really fun to relive Clone Wars and everything. That was my favorite arc of the whole series.
It was my first time.
Yeah.
It was my first time watching this arc. And I have to say, I turned on, because we don't know them by name and everything. But I turned it on and my 11-year-old goes, no way, no, we are not, no way. It was the cutest thing I think I've ever seen in my entire life.
That's
he
amazing.
Just got so excited. So I knew I was in for a treat because if he knew them out of all of the whole 6 seasons, he would.
That's amazing.
No. No.
Yeah, my wife watched it for the first time, and the scene where Anakin finds out who he's going to be with the swirling dust and everything, and she was literally on the edge of her seat, and then all of a sudden Vader's helmet showed up in the smoke, and she squealed out loud. I was like, man, I wish I would have recorded that. It was the best.
Reaction video. Yeah.
No. It was so cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we kind of wanted to talk about, because with the Mortis arc, and it's been attributed to kind of the balance of the Force since it really debuted, because even Dave Filoni himself has kind of tried to keep it really ambiguous, not really answering a lot of questions about it. Sam Witwer, who plays the son, he voices the son, he's done the same thing. I've listened to interviews from him, and they're like, so can you tell us more about it? And he goes, It's better if I don't.
Yeah.
he's very, very, I guess, keeping it close to his chest with all of that and everything. But it's cool though, because like we love our theories. I'm sure Michelle, you love your theories as well. It's just really cool that in Star Wars, like everything is just so open to interpretation. And with this, like I kind of want to know what you guys think it's saying about the balance of the Force.
Yeah, well, I wrote down notes. So, well, first off, I thought it was interesting that the father chose to bring them to Mortis. Because at first I was like, oh, well, maybe that's just the whole will of the Force thing. But the father was actually like, oh, I heard that you were the chosen one. So then I was like, I'm going to bring you here, find out. But I don't know. I've gone back and forth with trying to figure out the Force with these episodes. Because at some point, when Anakin goes to the well of the dark side, the father tells Obi-Wan, oh, it's the Force is going to decide what happens to him. And like, if he turns to the dark side and if he goes to kill the son. And, but at the same time, the father kind of pushed him to do that almost. That's what I got from it. And well, yeah. So anyway, the will of the Force made him go down to the well, and then, you know, he sees his future, which is obviously very big. And then the father, when Anakin comes back and he's got his all big yellow eyes, oh my god!
Yeah, that was
and
great.
Before he erases his memory, he goes, "If there is to be balance, what you have seen must be forgotten." Yet I was questioning, but the Force had to go down into that well to confront the sun. So technically, you know, the Force this planet is supposed to be all about balance, and I just thought that was peculiar, kind of contradictory.
I think it is.
It sounds almost as if the father was trying to influence the balance.
Right.
That's how I took it, because like you said, he was like, hey, if he goes down there, he goes down there. But then when it came down to him actually knowing,
right,
he's like, whoa, that doesn't serve my purposes.
Right.
And so it was just kind of strange, because when I first watched the Mortis arc way back when, not when it premiered, but a few years ago, I had initially thought that the father, the son, and the daughter were the actual, like, the embodiments of the Force. I never caught that he called themselves Force wielders. So they're just really, really proficient in the Force, and they're not these deities created by the Force, which is something that I thought that they were at one point, which makes it interesting as to you're still open to that human interpretation. Because even though the whole time they're saying, oh, well, there's the balance between the dark and the light, and you have the daughter and the son, and they have to be subdued, and that's what causes balance. But does it? Yeah. That was my thing. Because I love the scene where he actually was controlling the daughter and the son when they had Ahsoka and Obi-Wan. When he just all of a sudden just yelled, kneel. And they dropped. I was like, "Whoa!" It blew my mind. It gave me chills, because Anakin is that powerful. And Qui-Gon's quote when they were in the cave to Obi-Wan, talking about, if he's the chosen one, you'll find it out here. And then on top of that, and he's like, "Well, what if it's not?" And as powerful as he is, you're in a lot of danger. Things are not going to go your way if he's as powerful as he is. So that's what kind of makes me think. So what is balance, I guess, is what I want to kind of find out. Because, obviously balance to us in our simple minds would be like tipping the scales one way or the other. I've heard the argument of too many light side users, too many dark side users, and things like that. But is that really it? What do you think?
I think that, this goes back to the father. He's supposed to kind of be in the middle. Told you. To do the light and the dark. But like you said, he's kind of selfish in a way that he interferes with this process, the chosen one. I think that it was selfish, and it cost him his children in the end. I mean, obviously they're probably still around on some level.
As powerful as they are, I would imagine.
As powerful as they are, they're not going to die by a lightsaber. But, that's a totally different. But yeah, I think that had he not interfered, things might have crept on for a little while longer. But he was very selfish in that thinking that the chosen one had to be his situation.
Mm-hmm.
Of all of the prophecy, the chosen one is meant for me. And I think that that's always how people always think, oh no, this is our prophecy. This one's mine. This one's my prophecy.
Definitely. I thought it was funny that it almost made me feel like a dad driven crazy by his kids. He told Anakin, you're the chosen one. You're going to have to stay with them, and I'm just going to take off. Yeah, see you later.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of like, I can't deal with these kids. Yeah. I can't deal with these crazy kids. You take them. So what do you think about as far as like when you think the balance of the Force, Michelle, what do you think it means?
That's hard because the father erased Anakin's memory so that he would, leave the planet and eventually, I mean, we know how the rest of Star Wars pans out. He becomes Darth Vader and he still does these horrible things that he sees in his vision, but then does bring balance to the Force. So in that case, I almost think balance is a combination of destruction and, order, as we've seen in all the movies. And, yeah.
I like that. That's interesting. Because the whole thing of too many light side, too many dark side never made sense to me. And I have a feeling that in episode 8, we're going to see a different side of it altogether, with Rey being something new. And we've talked about this on a previous podcast in great detail. But yeah, I think it's interesting to think about the Force because it's not one thing to one or one thing to all people. As far as when you think about it, what the balance means and things like that, and who could be the chosen one, there's different answers across the board. Some feel Luke, some feel Anakin. I've even heard Rey as a possible chosen one. And so that kind of makes me wonder, I want to know what the prophecy was to begin with, because I feel like it's been mistranslated or something. Because, you have so-and-so told me this and this and this, and it got passed down and all this other stuff. And there was more to it, but, we gave short form. We didn't have all that time. We reduced it to Twitter.
150 characters.
Right. Yeah. And so I think that I wonder if we'll actually find out what the prophecy truly is about the one who brings balance to the Force. Because balance to me is not you have an even amount on either side, because no matter what, there's still conflict. You still have fighting, and it's always going to be an endless fight if that were the case. And so with the balance, I feel like it's more of being able to wield both, being able to solidly be one with the Force.
See, that's always been my feelings as far as what balance is to me, is that someone that is not necessarily ruled by anger and pain, but doesn't fear it in a moment of weakness is not going to define you. You just move on and you become a better person, and you use the Force to do things like your housework or whatever.
I mean, why not though?
Channel that Force to do the laundry.
Exactly. I mean, I'm not going to be ashamed. I would absolutely do that all the time. I would be sitting on the couch and just, I need this.
Yep.
I need you to go do this, but do you? Yes, absolutely. That would actually come really handy in my line of work. I work customer service, so I work with people all the time. So, don't tell anybody. But anyways, but yeah, so like as far as Mortis goes, like so because it kind of confused me too with how the son immediately was remorseful of every action he made. Like, did y'all catch that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Where it was literally like, yeah, he killed the daughter. Oh no, I shouldn't have done that. Then he killed his father. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. That was terrible. Dude, you like hardcore was in it like the whole time. So it was just like out of nowhere, he was just immediately like, oh, that was a terrible decision. I shouldn't have done that. And I don't know why I did that. You absolutely know why you did that. And that was the craziest thing to me. I don't know. I guess I really didn't really understand his real point, I guess. Like he kind of had a Palpatine kind of vibe to him at one point. He even sounded like Palpatine at one point.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I hear
My
that.
wife jumped off the couch and screamed, "That's Palpatine! That's Palpatine!" Like freaked out because it was at the end of one of his little sentences. I think it was in the vision that Anakin had, his dream. At the end of it, and he said something about rule the galaxy or whatever. He actually said it like Palpatine, and I was like,
I bet they overlaid like the Palpatine voice over like Sam Witwer to probably create that. I would imagine.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Say that was awesome. Like there were so many little Easter eggs in this. That's what I love so much about it. There were so many just little things. And actually, I pointed this out to Heather, and it may not. I mean, it's kind of sidetracked right now, but so Dave Filoni is all about his wolves and things like that.
I know what you're going to say because I looked that up. Yes. Go ahead.
Yeah. So there's a wolf constellation in the last episode of the Mortis arc. It just briefly comes on, and I don't know if it's because of his love of wolves, but the fact that there is a wolf coming up in Rebels, and everybody was like, "Oh, it's Ahsoka." Well, that's out of the window for one, but the fact that that's there almost makes me feel like there may be something to that, because we have the owl and Twilight of the Apprentice and things like that. I still feel like Ahsoka may be somewhat of an embodiment of the daughter. I think I don't know. Because I mean, back to the whole thing about them dying, like. So you had Darth Plagueis the Wise, who could manipulate life and stuff like that, but he couldn't save himself. I mean, do you not think that these all-powerful beings of the Force may be able to tap into something like that?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because they did keep themselves isolated, so we don't really know if they would be able to manifest themselves outside of Mortis, but it's possible. Yeah.
That's interesting because his son was all into getting off of Mortis.
Yeah.
So I wonder if he would have just turned to ash as he crossed the board. They're like, well, there's the end of the story.
I was wrong.
Michelle, what are your thoughts on the Chosen One? Because it's always the Chosen One this, the Chosen One that. Even the father didn't seem really, I guess, really set on who the Chosen One was. He was like, oh, I heard. Right. And then he saw Anakin's power and just assumed that he was. But I noticed throughout the episode, rewatching it, that it was never confirmed that Anakin is the Chosen One. Because the father doesn't seem to have that kind of foreknowledge. I mean, that's how I took it. Okay. Didn't seem like he had that real knowledge. Like he's not the Force. He was the father of, he just had the ability of the Force. He was very proficient. So what do you think?
Well, I wrote down that the father tells Anakin that he brought balance to Mortis, and if he stays on the path of what, living his life, and that he would do it again for the galaxy. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I took it as the father was confirming that Anakin was the Chosen One, and especially after Overlords, when he saves both Ahsoka and Obi-Wan, and he kind of confirms that he has the ability to control his two children. He's like, okay, well, now I need you to stay here. And Anakin says, no, I'm not going to. And so to me, I always thought that the father did know that Anakin was the Chosen One. But something that I thought was interesting is he's like, it has to be your choice if you're going to stay here. So in that sense, even though he told Anakin, oh, I'm dying and I need you to replace me, he still gave him the free will to, eventually Anakin will go down this dark path and bring balance to the Force.
Yeah. So, well, in him seeing saying that he is the chosen one, I wonder what qualification he was looking for. Because, I mean, even Qui-Gon mentioned how if he wasn't the chosen one, how powerful he is in the Force, everyone's in danger.
Yeah.
So, which everyone eventually, long down the line, becomes in danger. He ends up being something that's not good for the galaxy. I don't feel like he ever really brought balance. And if he did, it would have been at the end of Return of the Jedi, at that last moment where he kind of redeemed himself and was like, all right, well, yeah, I kind of acted a little weird. I got it and everything. But I don't know. What do you think, Heather?
I think that when he was, in the end, when he made his decision to throw the Emperor, and go do the thing. Okay, so I'm trying to think of the words. But
he played shot put with the Emperor.
Yes. So I think that was his way of balancing things, because before him, it was very light dominant.
Mm-hmm.
And then during his short distance as Darth Vader, I mean, in the whole scheme of things, he, was a bad guy and brought it way towards the dark, but then he did aid in the end in bringing balance along with Luke. And I think that maybe the chosen one is a generational thing that just gets handed on down the line.
The Force says you're fired and moves on.
Not necessarily you're fired. You've done your job and now it's the next. Yeah. It doesn't even have to be generational as in that generational line. But like Rey, even if she's not a Skywalker, can still be a chosen. I know. But anyway,
I digress.
But yeah, even if she's not, a Skywalker, she can still be a chosen one, and that can be her goal in her generation, is to maintain and bring forth a true balance to the Force.
Yeah,
I could agree with that. But and then it comes back to the question again, though: what constitutes balance? Is it peace in the galaxy? Is it a mastery of the Force?
Everybody keeps saying during the Mortis arc, when Anakin's like, and will there be peace? The idea of peace doesn't necessarily mean no fighting. The idea of peace to me is the freedom to choose your own destiny.
Yeah,
true.
You don't have to get somebody else to choose your destiny for you.
Yeah.
It's fighting and peace. Because, thinking about everything that Anakin did on Mortis, he killed the son and then the daughter died and then gave her life to Ahsoka. So it's this combination of, like, light things and dark things. So, yeah.
I could see that. But then comes the thing of, because fighting and peace is what we already have, technically. We have our moments of peace, and then it's, Star Wars. So it's a constant battle.
Exactly. It's a constant battle. Is it really ever going to be over? And that's why it's generational, is because it's really never going to be over. That's why Star Wars can really endure.
I would agree with that. But like you said, so it almost makes me wonder this prophecy of sorts of the one who will bring balance to the Force, because it sounds like it's a final thing. Like, this is the end game that everyone's going for, is we need the chosen one who will bring balance to the Force. Well, what does that mean? And so I'm wondering if the prophecy isn't all it's cracked up to be, because it's just, I don't know, like you said, it's unending. And so it's just constant war and everything. So it's almost as if whoever received said prophecy, either it's been diluted over the generations, which is entirely possible with as ancient prophecies go, or this is the will of the Force. And that's what's weird to me, I guess, if that makes sense.
So there's a prophecy about the Force, but the Force kind of prevents it from
Almost.
solidifying.
Yeah. Because it's almost as if the Force keeps it in constant... it's not necessarily the Force, but the ones who can tap into the Force keep it in constant disarray. Mm-hmm. So then there can't be balance, but then they all strive for balance. At the same time, there still can't be balance. And so it's kind of a losing battle. I don't know. What do you think? You look like you have something to say.
No, I just
okay.
like, it's, to me, the battle in itself is balance. I mean, because it's never ending, but that's life. Life just kind of keeps chugging along, and you keep trying to make it work, and it works out somehow, or it doesn't. Those are the two options. And so that's kind of how this goes. And yeah, I do think maybe the prophecy has gotten very convoluted over time, and I think that they've put in
that's a Southern term, right?
It's usually served with dinner, after dinner. But they place a lot of stock in one thing, and they think that this one thing is going to save them. But sometimes you got to be that thing, and you got to get there, and you have to save yourself. So
I like it.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
So it also stands to reason. So with this constant push and pull, because it seems like the Jedi, their goal is only to extinguish the dark side, which can't be extinguished because it's part of the Force.
Exactly.
So it's the great kind of...
That's how they fell.
Yeah, that's the great contradiction of we need to get rid of the dark side, but you can't.
You can't get rid of it.
It's still there for whoever wants to draw on it and everything. And so do you think that there need to be dark side wielders in order to have the balance? Or, going with episode 8, do you think that Rey will bring that balance by being something brand new?
Oof. I like both of those. I like both of those ideas.
So do you think? So obviously, the it's time for the Jedi to end. I mean, it may just be a soundbite or an out of context sentence, but I mean that's a big thing to put in a trailer for that. What do you think Rey will become, or do you think she will have that ability to become something different? What do you think, Michelle?
I don't know. I mean, we know that Luke's going to train her, so to probably be a Jedi. Here's my kind of theory. I don't know what it is. He'll start to train her as a Jedi, and then something will happen that will cause him to say it's time for the Jedi to end, or something will happen, and he'll get maybe she'll have a vision and things will get explained or something. But I think I do like the idea of her sort of being this new Jedi in a way. We all know Grey Jedi isn't canon. This new Jedi of sorts.
Neither was Thrawn at one point.
That's true. Very true. Yeah.
I like it. That's cool. Heather's a firm believer in the Grey Jedi.
Yeah.
I don't call them Jedi. I have an aversion to the word Jedi, but yeah, definitely Grey all the way. Grey.
Or as Maul told Ahsoka in Twilight of the Apprentice, a part-timer.
Oh man. That made me mad for her when he said that. I was like, come on, dude. Taking shots. Yeah. All right, guys. So that is our episode. So thank you so much for listening. We had a blast.
Yes.
And Michelle, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
I'm so happy to be here and talk good stuff with you. You guys can follow me if you're not already doing that.
Well, absolutely. Where can they find you?
My Instagram is at Ahsoka X Tano. That's the only social media I have as far as Star Wars wise. And right now I am doing a project of sorts called #Rebels Rewatch. So right now I'm going through all the Rebels episodes and just posting concept art and stills and scenes, lots of fun stuff. And so that's all going to be leading up to season 4, whenever that premieres in the fall. So yeah.
The bittersweet end. I'm not ready for Rebels to end.
I'm probably going to cry.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We can cry collectively. So, absolutely. So thank you again so much for joining us. It was a lot of fun. And guys, you can check us out at KesselRunWeekly.com. All our social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, at KesselRunWeekly. And look out for our episodes. We have new episodes coming every single Wednesday and Friday. We will have our book club coming out and some other cool stuff for Wednesday because unfortunately, and as sad as it is, our Thrawn book is nearing an end. And so we will have some new stuff for our book club and things like that. We're discussing possibly doing our Darth Vader comic series. So that'll be awesome. So cool. So guys, just be sure to check us out at KesselRunWeekly.com. And again, Michelle, thank you so much. Can't say that enough. All right, guys. And so for Kessel Run Weekly, my name is Danny.
I'm Heather.
And may the Force be with you.